Are you looking for an ultra-wide monitor that's good for both productivity and gaming and doesn't smash your wallet? Well, today we're checking out the PRISM X340 Pro, a 34-inch 100Hz ultra-wide curved monitor coming in at 429 Aussie dollars plus shipping. But before we continue, the EaseUS Rec Expert screen recorder is an all-in-one solution for recording everything on your screen, whether it's online meetings, gameplay, tutorials, and more. Rec Expert supports 4K and 60 FPS in various video formats, and there are plenty of additional features, including a simple video editor to clean up your recording. Give it a test run with a link in the video description. With a screen resolution of 3440 by 1440 pixels, that's an entry-level price for this kind of display. And since it's curved, you might have already guessed it's rocking a VA panel. And the curvature on this one is 1500R, which adds a bit of immersion, but isn't enough to make the image look warped. It's a nice touch to the ultra-wide aspect ratio, which is my favorite way to game. Okay, let's see what's inside the box. There are two stand pieces which need to be assembled and connected to the back of the monitor. In the accessories bag is a power and DisplayPort cable, the screws for the stand, VESA mounts, energy rating sticker, and the manual. Putting the stand together is simple. Just grab a screwdriver and screw the two pieces together from the bottom. Attach the mount and add another 2 screws to get that one secure. 3 screws in total, but you get 4. Isn't it nice to have an extra screw on the side? Anyway, attach the assembled stand to the monitor, lift it, and you're done. While you can tilt the X340 Pro, it doesn't have any height adjustment or swivel, which is pretty much what you'd expect at this entry level. But build quality is good. Feels pretty solid with little flex or creak. Removing the cover on the back reveals the ports, and this display includes dual HDMI 2.0 and dual DisplayPort 1.2. Audio out is available for speakers or headphones, but no internal speakers or USB hub are included. There also isn't anything extra on the stand for cable management. That's fine. This monitor is targeted at productivity, and for that, the ultra-wide aspect ratio really shines. I use a 21:9 monitor myself for video editing in Premiere. Check out how much longer the video timeline is for scrubbing. This saves me time when editing, as there's less scrolling and zooming in and out of the video timeline while working on a video project. Another great use case for an ultra-wide monitor is using the side-by-side windowed mode. You can set 2 apps side by side and still have a decent chunk of viewing space for each one. You can even have 3 apps and it's still not too bad. A great way to save time instead of alt-tabbing. The 100Hz panel supports adaptive sync and worked fine with both NVIDIA and AMD graphics. It should also work with Intel. There's a low blue light mode, presets for different game genres, the ability to add a game crosshair, picture-in-picture mode, and more. The monitor menu is accessed with the buttons underneath. They work fine. I just prefer a joystick setup for these gaming displays, which allow you to quickly change your settings. Using the buttons isn't as quick or intuitive, and having them at least in the middle of the screen would have been an improvement. While I completely recommend a 21:9 ultra-wide monitor, be aware that not all games support this aspect ratio. These days, the majority of titles do, but you'll still come across some like Valorant that are 16:9 only, so that means black borders on the side. I don't think it's a problem, as playing games in 21:9 is easily worth a trade-off for those that aren't compatible. It's also by far the best way to watch movies if you're a movie buff, like I am. Most movies come in a 21:9 aspect ratio, meaning you'll have no black bars at the top and bottom, just a perfect display of the movie as intended. And the thin bezel around the display is just the icing on the cake. At 250 nits brightness, it's not the brightest monitor out there, but pretty much what you'd expect from an entry-level model. It's not going to do HDR content justice, which requires 400 nits or higher. Viewing angles are great, and color reproduction is pretty good. It's rated at 120% of the sRGB gamut. You can calibrate the X340 Pro to get an image closer in color accuracy, but the average Joe isn't going to even notice. Anyway, since this is the entry level, those looking for color accuracy probably should be looking elsewhere. The VA panel has good black levels and the contrast ratio is high. The default response time is okay. I sometimes notice a little ghosting with the default option in fast-moving games like first-person shooters. For those, I recommend setting the response time to fast, which cleans it right up. Ultra fast went too far, and overshooting artifacts started creeping in. But all in all, I had a good time playing games on the X340 Pro. While 100Hz isn't the fastest gaming refresh rate out there, it still is a nice bump up from the usual 60Hz budget monitors out there. Taking the resolution into account, 100Hz is not that easy to achieve with AAA games at high detail unless you have a really beastie PC rig, and in that case, you wouldn't be looking at the entry-level monitors anyway, would you? I do need to point out there's also a blue LED on the back, which is nice, but is anyone really going to notice? Maybe. The PRISM X340 Pro uses around 42 watts during typical use. Okay, so let's summarize. The PRISM X340 Pro has good build quality and the 3-year warranty is great. There are also plenty of options in the menu. However, the menu is accessed with buttons instead of a joystick, which isn't as quick and intuitive, and the stand doesn't have swivel or height adjustment. Also, 250 nits brightness is on the lower side. But overall, the picture quality is good, and it's a solid entry-level ultra-wide gaming monitor. That's all for this one, and I'll see you later. Cheers!